Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our regular council meeting of Wednesday, June 24th, 2026. I will now call the meeting to order and acknowledge that we are in Mi'kma'ki, the ancestral unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq people. Administrative and procedural issues, 2.1, approval of the agenda. The recommended motion is that the agenda be approved as presented. We do have one addition to the agenda, and we're going to put it under 6.7. And that's the discussion on AI data center moratorium. Everybody okay with that? Any other additions or changes to the agenda? Seeing none, I'll ask for the motion now, please, that the agenda be approved as amended. Moved by Councilor Telling, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gould. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, hearing none, the motion is carried. 2.2, I will direct your attention to the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act. 2.3, approval of the minutes. The recommended motion is that the minutes of the May 27th, 2026 regular council meeting and the June 15th, 2026 special council meeting be approved. Moved by Councilor Strong, seconded by Councilor Lockhart. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, motion is carried. 2.4, business arising. Mr. Herrick, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. Business arising is at pages 14 and 15 of the council package today. A couple of pages of items. The first page relates to the council meeting, most recent one on May 27th. Items 1 through 8 are all complete. I presume number 9 is complete, and we just haven't marked it so that we have an employee appointed as a building official and fire inspector. So that is complete. There is an item relating to food trucks, which is in progress. I'll stop there and ask if there are any questions before I move on to the ongoing list.
Any questions, anyone? Go ahead, sir.
The ongoing list, the designation of Swan Creek Protected Wilderness Area is still in progress. We've written to the relevant deputy. We haven't heard back, but we would expect to hear soon. That's been on the go for a while. The execution of the sale on property of Lambs Hill Road to Mr. Meekins is complete. The demolition order on 25 Kimberley Road in River Hibbert is complete. And a few items related to the River Hibbert Village rate. And one is left in progress, the status report on the village's progress coming to the October Committee of the Whole. The correspondence with the minister is marked in progress, but that is now complete. So happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Herrick. Anyone have any questions on this? Seeing none, we'll move along. There is 2.4, business arising. 2.5, public hearings. There are no public hearings today. And strategic priorities issues, there are none of those for today. And we will flip over. There are no major organizational items. Number 5, organizational policy and bylaw items. 5.1, second reading bylaw to amend the LUB 26-06 to rezone PID 25236910, 20 McFarland Street, Spring Hill. Mr. Boone, go ahead.
Sorry, Your Worship, Kira's file. She's been leading this one since the beginning, so I'll turn it over to her.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Go ahead, Kira.
Thank you, Your Worship. The application before you today is to rezone 20 McFarland Street, Spring Hill, from the R low zone to the R multi-zone to permit the development of 2 triplexes. This application has been before council twice previously for a first reading and just last week for our public hearing. This report starts on page 16 of your package agenda. So the subject lands are located in a central area in Spring Hill in a lower density residential area. The property currently sits vacant and has been allowed to naturally vegetate. The current property owner, Spring Hill Baptist Church, are looking to develop the lands to create affordable housing that could be marketed to senior residents. The subject lands are very walkable in the context of Spring Hill as it's located within a walking distance of Main Street. Main Street would be an area in which many community amenities are located, such as Foodland, the bank, post office, and the community recreation center. So we have some a concept site plan and floor plan for each triplex. The floor plan would just be replicated, so it would be the same floor plan between the 2 triplexes. The site plan and the triplex floor plan are concept, as they may change slightly to align with building code and fire code requirements. Um, They just kind of give a general idea of the layout of buildings and units that's being proposed. So the applicant's looking to create a total of 6 units. Each unit would be a 1-bedroom. They are also intending to provide ground level decks on both the front and back side of the units. And they're going to be providing communal garbage collection facilities and a utility shed for each triplex. The utility sheds are going to be external to the units so that they don't need to enter the units to perform maintenance or monitoring of their systems. There's going to be 6 parking spots provided for each unit as well. Each parking spot is going to be the size of a accessible parking stall. The LUB requires technically 7 spots. It'd be 1 spot per unit plus 1 additional spot to accommodate accessible parking. Because this would be permitted through a site plan agreement once the rezoning is in effect, we do have an ability to vary the number of parking stalls permitted. And so through the site plan approval process, we would be looking to vary that requirement so that they wouldn't need to create the extra parking spot. We feel pretty confident that the site will be able to accommodate traffic and vehicles to park on it overnight. If more parking is needed, the line can be split a spot down the middle, and it would create 2 non-accessible sized parking stalls. And that is still a process that's up to public input, so it'd be the same process for a site plan agreement or a variance. The site plan agreement, once agreed upon between the development officer and the resident, is sent out to residents within a 30-meter radius, and anyone who receives that notice, they have the ability to submit an application for appeal to council. So we also have some concept elevations. These elevations, again, will likely change slightly closer to permitting to align with what it will look like in the real time. These elevations don't show the decks, which would be one of the changes made prior to issuing a permit. So this would be the proposed zoning map amendment. As you can see, there is a lot of RLO surrounding it, but there is also some commercial uses and a multi-unit within walking distance. So a public hearing, as I mentioned, was held last week. It was advertised and held in accordance with the MGA. There was a resident who came to speak at the public hearing. They wanted to bring forward their initial concerns towards the tenant mix. Upon learning that the intention would be to market the units to seniors and the church's involvement with the project, they felt much more comfortable with the proposal. They also did provide some written comments, which has been included in your package. So there's not really large environmental concerns at this time. The property would be serviced through municipal water and waste water systems. The owner is responsible for securing those connections themselves. Enforcement of this connection would be done at the permitting stage, so we would make sure that they have everything set up before proceeding. There's no municipal costs associated to the proposal, but as with any redevelopment, the property would experience a reassessment, which has potential tax implications. Additionally, creating housing that would be specifically marketed for senior residents allows many residents to downsize from their existing home, which allows people to age in place, and it also creates an increase in the housing supply market for Spring Hill. So I want to thank you for your attention on this matter, and I'm happy to answer any questions, but the recommendations before you.
Thank you Thanks, Kira. Recommended motion is that council approve second reading of the bylaw to amend the land use bylaw 26-06 to rezone PID 25236910 20 McFarland Street, Spring Hill from lower density residential zone to the multi-unit residential zone. If somebody'd like to make the motion. Moved by Councilor McCormick, seconded by Councilor Lockhart. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Carol. 5.2, second reading of the bylaw to amend the LUB 26-07 to rezone portion of PIDs 25137878 and 25137852, Highway 2, Southampton. Mr. Boone.
Thank you, Your Worship. I can't let Kira have all the fun. This again is an application in your package, the details starting on page 29, for those that might be following the package elsewhere. Second reading is the final step in the planning process, so I'll give some highlights on this, Your Worship, and to members of council and the public. So this application, as I think I mentioned at the public hearing in a little bit more detail, it came to us through the owners of the property, Matthew and Aaron Siddle. It was formerly a abattoir and a meat shop, a butcher shop, and hadn't operated for a number of years. During the planning process that would have happened in 2018, 2019, it wasn't identified for its use or its potential use as an existing building because it just wasn't in operation. So this is one of those cases where sometimes the information is not provided during the planning process. So with that in mind, it is an existing abattoir structure and an existing meat shop, just not in operation. So I think it's important for council and the members of the public, as I said during the public hearing last week, to identify that. The plan is to rezone a portion of the PIDs, and we'll talk about that in the zoning map here shortly. And the reason being is to maintain the character of the home that the Siddles live in on themselves and keeping that as the country residential zone. So we're only looking at changing a back portion of these PIDs. So again, it's in the community core. Not very far from the the post office, and it's the existing structure on the front portion. Will keep that zoning as I mentioned. So just a little context and some pictures, as I mentioned already. This operation, with a few tweaks, could be brought up and brought back in force and operation in a very short period of time. But in order to do that, there is some building permit requirements that are necessary, but more importantly, you need the zoning in place to permit the use. As part of these changes, with a new zone that would be put in place, to commercial zoning, we do also have to make sure there's some adjustments to some of the text and special requirements under this zone. So this is a rezoning with some text amendments, as I mentioned last week. So the rezoning, as you can see, it's existing country residential, and if you look to the right on the screen, you'll see that it's only a portion of the larger PID that we're changing to the country commercial, and same with just a portion of the secondary PID. The reason we're doing that, as I mentioned last week in the public hearing, is that small section takes in the access driveway to this facility, so we want to make sure that all of the operation is in the future commercial zone should council endorse the application before them. So as I mentioned, there's some text amendments here. We talked about these in detail at the first reading, but more detail at the public hearing. So we're adding a section 11.52, which will show abattoir as a permitted right, as a right use, but we're having a special section that limits how large that abattoir can be, and it has to be as an accessory part of a butcher shop or a meat shop as part of that. So there's a limitation to the 10 animal units. As I mentioned last week, without getting details, but I'm happy to explain if there's additional questions, that number of animal units is what would be permitted in the country residential zone today. So what we're doing is making sure that the two uses are kind of following in line with the policy and what's expected in this neighborhood. That picture was more for the planning, showing the planning notice, is that we do make sure that folks are aware of it, because often we get as many calls from the signs as we do from the public notices that we do put out. So to wrap up, before I give you the recommendations, Your Worship, community engagement followed a similar process to what Kira just explained. We had a public notice Public hearing was held in accordance with the MGA. Notice was published in the paper, as well as the planning notice I mentioned earlier on the site. Staff had received some preliminary inquiries from some folks in the neighborhood. We sent them direct information with regards to the project. They were aware of the public hearing but did not attend. I think what we sent them through traditional mail and the conversation I had with them on the phone had appeased their concerns. As we mentioned last week, abattoirs are considered and designated under the Environment Act, so special approvals to deal with affluent from a butcher shop or an abattoir are specially regulated, so that would be something they would do at the permitting stage. No direct financial implications to the municipality. This is a commercial operation, may get reassessed, so that could change the taxation, obviously. And the recommendations are before your worship. Happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is that council approve second reading of the bylaw to amend the LUB 26-072, rezone a portion of PIDs 25137878 and 25137852 to country commercial zone, and add abattoir as a permitted use in the country commercial zone under section 11.5.2, and add special requirement limiting the scale of abattoir permitted and requiring the use to be accessory to a butcher shop under section 11.5.6. If somebody may. Moved by Councillor Lee, seconded by Councillor Fromm. Any questions or comments? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. 5.3, first reading bylaw to amend the LUB 26-08 to rezone a portion of PID 25216755 and a development agreement for PIDs 25216755 and 25216680 along Dominion Street, Parsboro. Mr. Boone, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. This is in your package starting at page 64. This is the first time the council will see this application. It is a bit unique, but I would like to reference a similar project that we did in Spring Hill for the Shaw Rural Development project, which was a combination of a rezoning and a development agreement done concurrently. So that's within the realms of the Municipal Government Act and our policies to do both applications together in concurrence. So I just wanted to note that at the outset for council. This is a bit unique in the fact that there's two PIDs, and we're only looking to rezone a portion of one of the PIDs, and I'll explain that in the map and the reasoning why momentarily. So this is a very good location as far as the downtown for Parsboro. It's in the core, very walkable. Currently, these lots are vacant, but again, very walkable to all of the facilities and the amenities in the downtown, including the bank, our service center, the grocery store, and certainly within walking distance to the schools and a lot of the shops and restaurants in the downtown. These lands have been vacant for quite some time, Your Worship. I think this is an opportunity to put them back in a useful production, and obviously housing is an important opportunity for us. So I'm going to show you on the zoning map here momentarily, but the project is to put in two multi-residential buildings. This is being led by Casey Realty, and this would be buildings that will be produced in their new modular plant, which is getting up and running in Amherst, and a lot of folks may be aware of that already. Reason I'm kind of still stick handling this file, I've had a lot of conversations with Mr. Manzer from Casey about applications across the municipality and the region. Obviously, some good things that will happen in the town of Amherst as well. So kind of the reason I'm still kind of working through this file and the process. So concept site plan, Kira's been up to her eyeballs in this one as well as far as site plans. It's taken us a while to get the site plan kind of tweaked here because of the challenges that the site has. There's several older service laterals that run from the back of many of the downtown Main Street facilities, including the Canada Post building, which is on one of these PIDs. And all of those laterals run back to Dominion Street. So placement of these buildings has been very specific because of those existing laterals. And one of the reasons that we've moved to having the two main buildings on one PID and the parking on the lower PID, where you see the majority of the parking spaces to the lower left of that site plan. The buildings that are proposed, it's 21 units in total. Buildings are 3 floors. There is an outlay of the the type of units are in each building. I won't go through those specifically. And we've been working on the number of parking spaces. Again, this zone doesn't have specific requirements, hard to believe, for parking. So what we're doing within the development agreement, we're requiring a bit more parking than the zone would require. But we're also being conscious that a lot of these units will be utilized by folks that don't necessarily have a vehicle. So we're looking at finding the balance, and Kira and I spent a lot of time on that. We also have to recognize that under the agreement with Canada Post, there is specific requirements under their lease to maintain parking. So that's why those specific stalls are on the site plan for Canada Post. So conceptually, these are just very rough conceptual drawings, but the way the buildings are being built, they're being built modular. I won't call it Lego, but it's going to be very specific and very similar to stacking Lego blocks together. That is the advantage of building these units and these modules, or boxes as they call them, in the factory setting. It keeps them in a controlled environment, so obviously you're not building in the elements. It allows year-round production in a controlled environment, but it also allows for efficiency of building, so it keeps costs down, which therefore keeps costs down when it comes to rental. So if you look at the zoning map here, you can see the current zonings to the left, but you can see what's outlined in the darker line to the right. Is you can notice that we're only rezoning the back portion of that PID. The commercial downtown zone will be maintained on Main Street, and the reason this zoning change has to happen is a couple of things. The commercial downtown zone followed that whole property back because that's how the zone was set up. If it fronted on Main Street, the zones were all running from end to end. The challenge it created for the development, and why we're doing the rezoning, is that the CMIX zone requires the development agreement for this number of residential units, but the commercial downtown zone, we had just left it, requires that you put commercial in the base of all the buildings. So that would have been very challenging for this development. And it would also have been competing with some development and existing vacancy we have on Main Street. So big reason for the change. So I'm going to summarize here. Community engagement, should the council approve first reading, we'll go through the proper process per the MGA with notifications and advertisements. Further, there's no definitive environmental issues. This would all be serviced by municipal sewer and water, and any storm water would also have to be managed and directed to our municipal system. No direct financial implications at this time, but I will probably mention at the public hearing and in the final process, if we get to a second reading, is that there's obviously an advantage of developing vacant lands and putting it into new housing, and which creates new taxation. So recommendation is before you, Your Worship. As I mentioned, there's two pieces to this, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. The recommended motion is that council approve first reading of the bylaw to amend LUB 26-08 to rezone a portion of PID 25216755 located along Dominion Street, Parsboro, from downtown commercial zone to mixed use zone, and further that council approve first reading of the KC Realty James/Dominion Street Parsboro Development Agreement for PIDs 25216755 and 25216680. If someone would like to make the motion. Moved by Councillor Strong, seconded by Councillor Hotelling. Any comments or questions by anyone on this? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Gould.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just one question on the inspections. Where they're built in Amherst, will they be inspected in Amherst by county inspectors, or will they be inspected on site, or?
Your Worship, back to Deputy Mayor Gould. It's a combination, Deputy Mayor. The buildings as they're being produced in the plant in Amherst are being inspected by the building official with the town. And then as they come to site, obviously the foundations will be all part of our inspection process, and how they link together. There's some plumbing and service connections. All of those will be inspected on site, and the final occupancy will be done by our building officials. And then actually following up to that will be a fire inspection because it's a new residential building. What we've been working, and this is one of the reasons this has taken a while to get before us here, is we've been working on that process and how our building officials work collaboratively with those in the town of Amherst on that process. So hopefully that makes some clarity. We're still working out some of the bugs, but it's been a long conversation and lots of detail.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else? I will add one little comment on this, that the other night we were in Parsboro doing community engagement, and one of the items brought up was that the need for more housing in the downtown core of Parsboro, especially for seniors. So it's interesting that a week later, here we are, so, anyway. Okay, so nothing else? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Boone. 5.4, sale and/or disposal of surplus personal property, policy 26-01. Mr. Walkress, our director, is making his way down to lead us into the discussion on this one. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. Staff identified the need for policy direction on the sale of surplus equipment and non-real property. The MGA does grant the CO authority to sell personal property belonging to the municipality, and that's things like vehicles or livestock or anything that's not bolted down.
Chattels.
But that authority is granted subject to policies adopted by council. So in your package, you'll see a draft of your policy for council's consideration, and happy to answer any questions council may have with regards to that.
I had no idea that this was going to morph into a conversation about nuts and bolts when I was reading this, but anyway, so this is where we find ourselves. The recommended motion is that council approve the sale and/or disposal of surplus personal property policy 26-01. Somebody like to make move by Councilor McCormick, seconded by Councilor O'Telling. Any comments or questions on this? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Walkress. 5.5, Regional Emergency Management Organization bylaw. Mr. Cole, our director, will lead us on this one. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. As reviewed at a recent Committee of the Whole meeting, the bylaw recommended to govern the Regional Emergency Management Organization is before you at page 68, Your Worship. This bylaw replaces the bylaw number 1302 from 2013 between the former towns of Spring Hill, Parsboro, the town of Amherst, the town of Oxford, and the municipality. It also updates matters in relation to a number of legislative changes in the structure of the Emergency Management Organization, and so forth. It sets out the roles and responsibilities of the Emergency Management Advisory Committee, which met recently, the Emergency Management Planning Committee, and goes hand in hand with the Emergency Management Intermunicipal Agreement, which is on the agenda for later today, Your Worship. The recommended motion is that Council approve the Regional Emergency Management Organization bylaw as presented. And just for Council's information, this bylaw would become effective upon approval of the Minister of Emergency Management.
Right.
So this needs to be approved by the Minister. It's also to be approved by the intermunicipal partners in our agreement, which are the town of Amherst and the town of Oxford. The town of Amherst plans on seeking approval by its council this summer possibly, although it may go into the fall. And I don't have a date on Oxford's presentation to its council for the bylaw, Your Worship.
Go ahead, sir.
Yep, thank you. Just for clarity, each of the municipalities, Amherst, Oxford, and the municipality of Cumberland, will separately approve their own bylaws. They're complementary bylaws, and they're essentially the same format. They don't sign on to our bylaw, and we don't sign on to theirs. Council will consider this bylaw separately. But the next item on the agenda, which is the agreement, that is one that we would jointly approve, just for clarity.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Yeah.
Anything else, Mr. Cole?
No, Your Worship.
Thank you. Recommended motion is the council approve the Regional Emergency Management Organization bylaw. Somebody like to make that motion? Moved by Councilor Fromm and seconded by Councilor Redmond. We're on hold. Timeout.
This is first reading of the bylaw.
Yes. This is first reading
So this is first reading and notice of intent to adopt. A second reading will be required.
Okay, so.
So the motion should reflect that.
The motion now reflects that it is the first reading of the Regional Emergency Management Organization bylaw.
Yeah.
So I'll just make a note in my notes here, first reading. And we've got the mover and the seconder, and no reason to change that. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Business issues, 6.1, Regional Emergency Management Organization Intermunicipal Emergency Services Agreement. Mr. Cole, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. As referenced earlier, this agreement follows the template recommended by the Department of Emergency Management and is required under Section 10, subsection 2 of the new Emergency Management Act. The draft of the agreement is attached to the motion and was reviewed at the recent Committee of the Whole meeting. This is an agreement that all three municipal units in the REMO, the Regional Emergency Management Organization, will sign on to. And happy to take any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. The recommended motion is the council approve the Regional Emergency Management Organization Intermunicipal Emergency Services Agreement. If somebody moved by Councillor Lee, seconded by Councillor Strong. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. 6.2, purchase of a pumper truck for Advocate. Mr. Cole.
Thank you, Your Worship. The request for proposals for the Advocate pumper truck, which was approved in the capital budget for this year, closed on May 12th. There were 2 bids received, one from Fort Garry Fire Trucks, from whom we've purchased a number of fire trucks, and one from Metal Fab. The 2 bids were virtually identical, and both were compliant with the specifications set out in the RFP. The pricing was lower on the Metal Fab truck, and the time of delivery was slightly faster. On the basis of that, Your Worship, staff are recommending that council approve the purchase of the Metal Fab fire truck for the Advocate Volunteer Fire Department in the amount of $739,200 plus HST.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cole.
Happy to take any questions.
Thank you. So the recommended motion is the council approve the purchase of a pumper truck for the Advocate Volunteer Fire Department from Metal Fab Fire Trucks in the amount of $739,200 plus HST. Moved by Councillor Strong, seconded by Councillor Hotelling. Any conversation or discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. 6.3, Water Operating and Capital Budgets 2026-2027. Amy Hurdle, our Director of Finance, will now have the floor. Go ahead, Amy.
Thank you, Your Worship. This item comes from the necessity to approve the water budget. As you all recall, on March 30th, 2026, the general capital and operating budgets for the county were approved. The water capital and operating budgets are now ready for consideration. We did go over the budget last week at the Committee of the Whole. The water operating and capital budget report is in your package with the RFDs for the capital projects at the back, and I would be happy to take any questions, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Amy. The recommended motion is the council approve the water operating and capital budgets for the 2026-2027 fiscal year. Somebody make the motion. Moved by Councillor Fromm, seconded by Councillor McCormick. Any comments or discussion on this? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. 6.4. Thank you very much, Amy. Parsonsville Main Street and Eastern Avenue intersection upgrade budget increase. Mr. Wackress, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Parsboro Main Street and Eastern Ave intersection upgrade project was approved as part of this year's capital budget. As detailed engineering design has progressed, our engineer's estimate identified construction costs that exceed the original budget allocated by council. The goal of this project is to improve pedestrian safety and accessibility at one of the primary intersections in Parsboro. Gas station, Tim Hortons, park that we continue to develop is all right there in that intersection. Lots of folks coming and going. Some of the cost overages in the estimate result in the additional area required for roads to be constructed so that truck turning movements don't off-track into opposing lanes of traffic as they turn left or right in the intersections. That requires more square footage of road to be built and replacing additional lengths of curb and gutter. Council has approved $195,000 for this project. Looking at the engineer's estimate based on their design, and the design has matured to be 90% complete at this point, so we're as confident as we can be on pre-tender estimates on these numbers. Looking for a revised project budget of $356,000. That would be an additional funding of $161,000. The original project was proposed to be funded from capital reserves, and there are sufficient monies in those reserves to handle the increased cost if council sees fit to approve that. Happy to answer any questions council may have, your worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Walcross. The recommended motion is the council approve to increase the budget for the Parsboro Main Street and Eastern Avenue intersection upgrade to $356,127, including non-recoverable HST, to be funded from the general capital reserve. Moved by Councilor Strong, seconded by Deputy Mayor Gould. Any comments or discussion on this? Seeing none, call for the vote. All those in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none. Go ahead. Thank you very much, Mr. Walcross. 6.5, Library Board Composition Change Request. Mr. Harrod. Go ahead, sir.
Thank you, Your Worship. Included in the package is a letter from the Cumberland Public Libraries Board seeking council's approval to changes to the composition of the board. Council should recall, having discussed this issue previously, there was a request to increase the size of the board. The consensus after that discussion, though, earlier this year was that the changes noted were reasonable, but that council, along with the other three municipal councils, wished to retain the ability to make the appointment to the board. We had discussions with other municipalities who also concurred with that. So the board has reissued the letter with those changes made. So the suggested motion includes composition of the board appointed by from the town of Amherst, one elected by council and one, appointed by the town of Amherst, one elected member of council and one community member at large. Appointed by the town of Oxford, same, one elected member of council and one from the community at large. And appointed by the municipality of Cumberland, one elected member of council and one community member appointed from at large. And appointed by the board itself, one equity, diversity, and inclusion or accessibility community member, and the provincial government appointing 2 members at large. So that's the recommendation, and that's the motion to issue.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCormick.
Just point of order, you're appointed by the council, so you're not in conflict.
Okay,
So, yeah.
well, there we go. Thank you for that, Mr. Harrod. So, you've heard the motion. If somebody would be so kind as to make it. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould, seconded by Councilor Hotelling. Any comment or discussion on this from anyone? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? The motion is carried. Thank you very much, Mr. Harrod. 6.6, paving on Lisgar Street. Councilor Lockhart, you have the floor.
Thank you. I appreciate the work's been done so far on the capital paving project, Spring Hill. Now that we see the work being done on Lisgar Street, though, I would like the council to consider upgrading with the that was approved from the original capital budget to include both lanes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the recommended motion is the council direct staff to prepare a report with options and costs for upgrading the paving work done on Lisgar Street to a full width overlay in the area where the utility cuts were made. Moved by Councilor Lockhart, seconded by Councilor Redmond. Thank you very much. Mr. Harrod, you got something to say there?
I
Go
do,
ahead.
thank you, Your Worship. We believe that we can have a report with some options ready for the special meeting on Monday, so that is our that is what we're aiming for. So,
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. Anyone else? Councilor Telling, go ahead. Did you have your hand up too? Yep, sorry. Over the top of his computer screen, it's hard to see sometimes, so go ahead, Councilor Telling.
Thank you, Your Worship. Just wondering who would have decided to pave only the northbound lane? And where would funding come to do the rest of that
You want
project?
that, or you want Justin? Go ahead.
The project to pave the northbound lane was included in the capital budget that was presented to council initially and would have been part of the initial presentation to council of that capital budget. The notation NBL is northbound lane, that was included in the final documentation that went to council in the approval of the capital budget. The funding, that will come in the options report, but I believe that the additional paving that was done planned to be done in Spring Hill was being funded by debt, with that debt service being paid by the Spring Hill area rate, and I would expect that, until we have the costs, it's hard to say exactly, but that the funding would come from that source as well, but that would be part of the report and options that comes before council.
Thank you. Just wondering, though, if we, at whatever point, decided to only pave the northbound lane, why would we make that decision then, is what my question was, sorry.
So the reason why it was proposed that way, the northbound lane had degraded. It was obvious that there were some ruts in it. That area of Lisgar Street from Main Street to Queen Street, at least the lower part, in the future, in the plan for the redevelopment or the reconstruction of Main Street, along with the related stormwater management that would go with that. The storm line would go through Lisgar Street, right about where the tennis court is on Lisgar Street, and disturb that whole part of the street. So the thought was that this was a temporary fix to that northbound lane, just to address the quality of that part of the street. It wasn't meant to be a permanent, 10, 15-year fix. It was meant to be a temporary one. And so for that reason, it was just the northbound lane that was addressed.
Thank you.
Councilor McCormick.
I'm opposed to this for the fact is that we did agree to it at our budget, plus also too, if you recall, back in April, the 22nd at our CAL and also to our council meeting, that we also agreed that the northbound lane from number 7 to Queen would be paved. I feel that the cost is going to be high, for the fact is that the company has now left the Spring Hill area, so we're going to have to pay for, I believe it's called remobilization charges. Also, since the paving has been done, the laterals on the opposite side of the road have been gravelled and recently paved, and there is a smooth transition. So I feel between the cost of doing the paving and the extra work that we're putting on Public Works, for them to come up with something that council already agreed from, that is unnecessary. Thank you, Worship.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCormick. Anyone else have anything to say or comment? Councilor Lockhart, go ahead.
Thank you. That's the beauty of a democracy. People get to disagree with each other. So anyway, I did not understand, and I know I did vote on this, that it was a northbound lane. I don't have a code book. I did not know what it meant. So I will take the full blame for that. But having said that, I went back to our website that we're always telling our citizens to use. If you go on the website, on the meeting minutes, this is what is there. And it says Lisgar from 7 to Queen, not one lane. I have some pictures, if I want to share them if you want. I don't really want to do that unless I have to, but I don't feel there is a smooth transition there. I also looked into the safety aspect of that. When rain falls there and with motorcycles and everything, the pavement is not even. Plus, driving over that just today, it's only been patched a day or two ago, the crosscuts. If the crosscuts hadn't went in there, it would have probably been acceptable. And I did know nothing about the tennis court and the new water drainage at all till just minutes ago. So my thought is the people living there, I live out, on Harrod Road, and there's a bump there. And when, luckily, there's not a lot of truck traffic, but there is a milk truck that comes down there from Boss's Dairy once a day or whatever, and it rattles the house. We have a lot of logging trucks going through town in late at night, early morning. That is a truck route. This pavement, the way it is right now, will not hold up in the plowing. It's already got whoops. There's 8 different crosscuts across there. So that's why I'm fighting to get this done today. And I really believe that we should, from now on, pave all lanes or make it a little more clearer. So anyway, sorry for my error, but I stand that we need to get this redone. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor Lockhart. Anyone else? Councilor Tilling, go ahead.
Can we have a advice from our Director of Public Works on if it will hold up for until next year's?
Can I jump in?
Go ahead.
So the motion that's on the floor is to prepare a report with options. And we would expect that kind of discussion, that kind of information to be in that report on Monday.
On Monday.
But we have to vote on it now, so.
No, we're asking, what council is being asked to vote on is to have the work done, the report done, to provide options so that council can make an informed discussion, an informed decision, sorry.
Yep.
This motion is not to approve the work, but rather to have the director go away and come back with a report with options and costs, and then council can decide whether it wants to proceed with the work.
Is that okay, Councilor Tilling? Well, if it's not, please speak up. Councilor Redmond, go ahead.
I guess I want to apologize too, because I did not read that it was just the northbound lane. And I can't see the sense in doing one side of a road versus both. And I think there's other people, other counselors that read it the same way as I did.
Anyone else? Councilor McCormick, go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. I've only received one call, and the one call that I received was that children's safety, for the fact is that now that the street is paved, the speed, they're worried about the speed. So I directed them on how they can address that problem. But we borrowed money, and the other complaints I'm getting is that Spring Hill, where this is affecting Spring Hill residents, and this is going to have to come out of the area rate to pay for it, and we're going to have to borrow the funds. I just think that it's something that we have to let go, put it up as an error because it was misunderstood by council members. But as far as Public Works doing what they should have done, they did do what they should have done. And I drove over that 3 times today. And I also have pictures, and it is smooth. There's just one section that's cracked, and it's down by where you go into the ballpark. Thank you, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCormick. Deputy Mayor Gould.
I hate to be the only one not to talk on a subject, but, so really the decision to make is either we end this today or we let our director go and get a report, bring it back to us Monday, and then we decide whether we're gonna move forward or not. So, I think we've all probably got opinions, and I know there's 3 or 4 counselors that have gone, including myself, that have gone across this and had a look at it. So, I think we either decide that we're gonna vote for or against it today, or we're gonna wait until Monday and vote for or against it with a little bit more information. So, we could talk about this all day, but I think we got a motion on the table, so unless there's. What's that?
Oh, excuse me, sir. Oh. No, no comments from the public, please.
So anyway, I'm ready to vote on the motion.
Anyone else not? Is everyone ready to vote on the motion? Councilor League?
Your
have the
Worship,
floor.
thank
Go
you.
ahead.
Just one quick question. Information is always great. I'm just more concerned about the timeline and the workload that we do have on staff for the municipality. I mean, that's your call. I'm just curious that they're comfortable in that timeline preparing that, Your Worship.
Yep. Go ahead, Greg.
Yes, we think that's achievable. We think we can have the information for Monday. Yep.
Any other comments? The motion is that council direct staff to prepare a report with options and costs for upgrading the paving work done on Lisgar Street to a full width overlay in the areas where utility cuts were made. It was moved by Councillor Lockhart and seconded by Councillor Redmond. Just to review that one more time. So having no more discussion, seeing no one wanting to say any more, I'll now call for the vote. All those in favor of the motions signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded, signify by saying nay. Record the nays, Mr. Do you have the nays? Okay, we have Councillor Hotelling and Councillor McCormick, is that correct? Okay, registered as nays. The motion is carried. Thank you very much. 6.7, AI Data Center Moratorium. I'm going to turn the floor over to Councillors Hotelling and Redmond, or just Councillor Hotelling? Okay, Councillor Hotelling. And give me 1 second to find the piece of paper that goes with this, if you don't mind. Thank you. Yep, we're good to go. Let's go.
Thank you, Your Worship. I have been speaking to constituents and watching the media around AI data centers, and I would like to bring some information to council and a motion. So I'll read it through because it was added at the beginning of the meeting. So some municipalities are imposing or considering temporary bans on new AI data center approvals while they study impacts and write new rules. A recent example is Hamilton, where council committees advanced a proposed moratorium on large AI data centers to give the city time to develop policy around electricity, water, land use, and community impacts. As Cumberland reviews our municipal planning strategy, considering new regulations on AI data centers should be a priority. According to what other municipalities have done, here are some options we can look at. Municipalities can limit data centers to specific industrial zones, prohibit them near residential areas, restrict building size, height, and footprint, require larger setbacks and buffers. Some municipalities are examining whether proposed AI facilities would overwhelm local infrastructure before approving projects. Concerns about power and water consumption are among the most common reasons cited for caution. Public opposition has become a major factor. Residents frequently raise concerns about massive electricity demand, water consumption, noise from cooling systems, limited permanent job creation, land use conflicts, potential increases in local utility costs. These concerns have driven calls for moratoriums and tighter regulations in several Canadian communities. So the suggested motion is to have the municipal planning strategy consultants create a draft set of regulations based on other municipalities across Canada to properly and responsibly regulate how AI data centers are built in Cumberland County, and to direct staff to provide the mechanics of implementing a moratorium by August 1st on any development of AI data centers, including rezonings, until this work is complete.
Thank you very much, Councillor Telling. So you've made the motion. I'll ask for a seconder of the motion. Is Councillor Redmond, Councillor Lee, Councillor McCormick, everybody's involved. Mr. Harrod, before we go any further on the discussion, do you have anything regarding this that you want to sort of add in or say about the deadline and all of that?
I had pressed my button to just say that. Thank you very much. So just wanted to clarify the motion. Do you want the report or the options on the mechanics by August 1st, or you want the moratorium implemented by August 1st? So believe that to be problematic, given that the moratorium probably will take a bylaw and will take first and second reading. Council doesn't meet in July on a regular basis, or August for that matter, not to say that we can't have a special meeting, but to have the moratorium in place by August 1st is probably tight, just to manage expectation, that's all.
Go ahead. Councillor Telling, followed by Councillor Redmond.
Thank you, Mr. Harrod. I would be happy to take a recommendation of a date.
Go ahead, Mr. Harrod.
Your Worship, to Councillor Hotelling, I would say that we should be able to provide some information on the mechanics by August 1st, given that we meet infrequently in the summer, and that then council could take its action based on those recommendations. Thinking about the timeline, If it was a simple matter of a simple bylaw, a few pages or a few lines, which it may well be, first and second reading have to be 14 days apart, likely with some special meetings, if it's possible. The enactment could be in place by end of August, 1st of September, if all of those things fall into place. So that's the kind of timeline I would expect from the conversation we're having. So just to manage the expectation. Okay. So what I was going to ask was, do you mean the report or the implementation by August 1st? So I'm going to interpret the conversation as the report now from our conversation. Yeah, okay, thank you.
Good. Council Ribbon?
I just am really concerned because we already have an AI company that's bought 180 acres in Malagash, and I think we need to have something in place before they decide to ask for rezoning or a development permit, or we're going to be grandfathered in and we're going to be stuck with one of these in a very remote area.
We can only move so fast on it, but we will commit to doing it. I don't suspect that there's anybody in this room that wouldn't commit to a special meeting or two if we had to through the summer months. We could do it by Zoom for that matter. We've done it many times in the past to facilitate some action on this at the most expeditious manner. So that's the word of the day.
Yeah, I think, if I might, I think we want to make sure we get it right too, because you don't want it to be, if we're able to do it, we don't want it to be challengeable. So I think it's worth taking a little bit of time up front to get it right, and then council and staff can manage the timeline of how the legislation gets through. So
Good stuff. Awesome. Go ahead.
It's just unnerving that we don't have anything in place, and I'm not sure, if this company applied tomorrow for rezoning, we might be in the same timeline before we can get it rezoned. But if we don't have something on the books, and I understand, the timeline for getting this done, but I just want to stress the importance of doing
if I could, I think we all understand the urgency. If in fact it is a bylaw that needs to be enacted, once first reading is given, that sort of application would be held in abeyance until it's able to be completed. So,
Councilor Lockhart, go ahead.
I thank you, Your Worship. I find this very concerning also, and I would commit myself to, being available for a couple of meetings to get this through kind of a ASAP process. Thank you.
Awesome. Anyone else? Seeing none, you've heard the motion. All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Contrary minded? Hearing none, the motion is carried. Thank you very much, everyone. Information item 7.1, Councilor recognition. 7.11, Councilor McCormick, go ahead.
I just want to send over, if he wishes, to actually a very good friend of mine, Howie Shears, who celebrated his 90th birthday a couple of Saturdays ago. And another man that, if anything I ever needed or get in touch with or find out information, he was always there for me, is Mr. Doug Marshall of Spring Hill. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councilor McCormick. Councilor Lockhart, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I wanted to recognize Park Your Paws, just down the road here, celebrating 10 years of business. Very great pet care facility. We've taken our dog there since we had him. In fact, today, as you know, I took a certificate there, and Carrie actually said she was having a very bad day, and that brightened her day up. And she said, it's funny you said this. She had memories with my particular dog when he was just a little puppy, and we took him there. And so very good. Congratulations, and I hope they're in business for many more years.
Very good. Thank you, Councilor Lockhart. Councilor Lee.
Your Worship, thank you. I just wanted to give a shout out and a congratulations to the senior boys. Well, they're not all seniors, but the boys they won the provincial banner for softball from River Hibbert School. Just a big congratulations out to everybody who was part of that, the coaches, the players, along with the parents who dedicate many hours supporting the youth who play these sports. So big shout out and congratulations to them all.
Congratulations to the Raiders. 7.2, dangerous or unsightly status report. Mr. Cole, come on down. That's page 111, last one, look at that.
I don't have a copy.
I'm gonna add a few more in.
I don't have a copy. Thank you, Your Worship. The report that's due from the administrator every 6 months is in council's package. At page 112, which, second last, or the last page in the package. The report lists demolition and cleanup orders and the status of those orders. I would like to point out that there is an error halfway down the page. 51 Sydney Street is in Parsboro, not Spring Hill. And that is a demolition that council granted the order on last week. Happy to take any questions regarding any specific properties, Your Worship.
Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Anyone have any questions? Councillor Lockhart, go ahead.
Thank you. I made all this paper here now, I was looking at it and I can't find it, but I had put one in on the Carlton Hotel, and I don't see that on this sheet.
Your Worship?
Mr. Cole, go ahead.
There was a cleanup demand letter that went out in relation to the garbage in front of the hotel. There is not a demolition proceeding afoot in relation to the hotel at this stage.
I misunderstood. I thought this was all, but yeah, I did put a cleanup on that one, and I don't think really they've done anything with it yet.
So
This is orders, Your Worship.
Yep.
it's not complaints, it's
Yeah.
orders.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, yeah, this is matters that proceeded through our process of contacting a property owner or a tenant or resident, doing a demand letter, and then proceeding to, if it's a cleanup, an order that I would issue under my authority as the administrator of dangerous or unsightly premises under the Municipal Government Act, or bring to council for a demolition order, which is in council's purview.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Cole. Anyone else? Go ahead, sir, you're excused. It's all good, we're good? No motion on that, right? Thank you very much, Alan. Mr. Deputy Mayor Gould, back to you. You have a recognition to do.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't get it in, but I just wanted to recognize between 200 or 300 students that are graduating in the next day or two here over the county, and how important it is to them as they move forward with their future endeavors, and as well congratulate the parents who have supported them for 12, 13 years as they've gone through their milestone that they're reaching this week. So just congratulations to them all. Thank you.
Very good. It's an exciting time for all of the graduates right across the county, so, and we commend them for their efforts so far, and hopefully they continue on in their educational journeys, so. Motion to adjourn, please. Moved by Deputy Mayor Gould. We are now adjourned. Thank you very much, folks.